That. Yeah, people. Yeah. What's going on? What's up, Mile High? It's Slim along with Nani Al Jaleel, and welcome to Sharing Our Stories. We are back, and thank you for joining us here. This program, as you know, is all about addiction and recovery. We bring in somebody every week from around Colorado and throughout the U.S. to come in and talk about uh, their life with addiction and what happened, and more importantly, their recovery, how they found their recovery, where they're at in their recovery, and their story thus far. It's only their story thus far, and we bring people in each week because if there was just one way to do it, if there was one way to recover, this show would have been one and done. And we truly believe that you need to hear all the different pathways to recovery, even if sometimes they overlap and they sound similar. They're all individual in themselves, and so we like to share that. And there's strength in that, and I do truly believe that when we share these stories, we can help other people, whether it's you struggling in your own recovery, or maybe you have a friend or a family member who you know is dealing with addiction and you don't understand it, or you want to know how you can help them. Maybe you'll hear something here that can inspire or help you to reach that goal. So thank you for being here. This is Sharing Our Stories. Not me.
Slim.
Who's the buff guy?
Who is this guy?
Who's the big dude?
This is Luke. Who was
What did you say, Slim? Big Luke from the first night? Right?
It was Big Luke,
Big Luke.
aka Big
Yeah,
Fit.
he's a big dude.
All the nicknames are Big This, Big That, Jumbo size in the middle here.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'll tell you, the whole time before coming in and to meet him, I was like, I'm gonna be here. I'm just gonna be the skinny guy. It's always that case.
So slim, huh?
So
So
slim, yeah.
He's
slim.
gonna shake my hand a little. My little arm is gonna flop around. And I'm gonna be like, this is what happens every time I gotta meet the buff dude. And he's gonna tell me, yeah, I can bench press things that are way more than you.
Your
Absolutely
size.
not.
Right.
Yeah, all those things. And like, yeah, I used to protect you back in the day. And
Yes,
right
that's what we
before
just heard.
we started this program, did you not say, oh yeah, I used to be in hospitality, I work security. I protected people like you.
He sure did.
In
Let
fact,
me
I
say straight.
protected you specifically.
If you used to hire guys like me, that was it.
Yes.
No protection. We just protected the money at the end of the night.
That is correct, man. And made sure that as security, man, you protect all the civilians, everybody coming in the door. Sometimes from each other, oftentimes
From
each
themselves,
other. Yeah,
mainly,
or
right?
from themselves.
From themselves, always.
So our guest here is Big Luke, big. But dude, if it wasn't in the article that I read about you that it said Big Luke
Uh-huh.
and then Big Fit,
Hey.
then you'd just be. Hold on, his name is Lou Jax. Okay, hold on, Lou Jax. Lou, are you Jax? Lou Jax.
Luke Jax, right?
Lou Jax. Okay, so
I mean, Big Fitz it rings a little better, right? I mean, I don't know. Big Luke was, my fat days. Big Luke.
did it start? Was Big Luke because you were overweight?
Oh man, I was 400 pounds. I mean, you can't get
Jeez,
it.
You were a real big dude.
And now you lift 400 pounds.
I mean, back to those days, you start sweating, it smell like gravy. So I'm just gonna say that's how big I was.
So
No joke.
was one of the first addictions food then?
I guess, yeah, comfort, right?
Mhm.
Like you definitely, growing up in, I'm from LA, right? From Los Angeles. So you typical Hispanic, your grandparents raised you
Food.
on food, right? Yeah. Your mom, you
Less
fell
than
down
one,
around, mom just doesn't.
You fell down, eat.
Yes, eat. Yeah. McDonald's, eat this, fried chicken. Like it was just typically just a comfort thing. There was, being raised by wolves is a feast or famine. So I made sure I was feasting.
All right, so originally from California, but
Yeah.
you've called Colorado home for what, 17 years?
18 years.
18
What's
years?
going on?
Jeez, man.
Well,
That's a lot. Hey, this is home then.
absolutely. This is the first place I've ever felt home, right? Like where I wanted to plant my roots.
Safe and comfortable, maybe.
Not, just, yeah. I mean, I could start, like a tree, right? It's got to have deep roots and, it's going to grow into a strong tree. Absolutely. In Colorado, happened to be in the books for it to work. And then it just, I just kind of let everything be, and I just kept working towards it, right? And it just it became home, and now it's home. Like everybody asks where you're from. Well, now I'm from Colorado, right?
Mhm.
Because this is my life now.
Mhm.
You know, because you can't go back to
You can't go back to born and raised in
Yeah.
Compton.
no, absolutely
No.
not, man. It's played out, right? I mean, like, hey, if you want to being there from there, it's cool. Going back there, absolutely not, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing.
No, man, you try to get out of those. You don't want to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, because you once you leave, you just keep going, right? There's no going back. It's like,
Like I got out of Vallejo. I ain't trying to go back to Vallejo, California. It is the ghetto. It's
man,
different,
and the ghetto doesn't change, right?
No, it doesn't
You
get
know?
better. Ain't nobody coming in to rebuild it in $1 million way.
No,
Not-
but
at
the
least not in
homes are
Vallejo.
selling for $1 million out there, and you go, sure, don't get me wrong, like the market's outrageous, but you know that's just where it started, right?
Mhm.
It was just living life, you know, in and out, you know, just like your grandparents raised you, they don't know what to do with you, right? You're a badass kid, you don't listen, you're fighting in school, you're just defiant all the time. So there's, you know, what do grandparents do, right? They're old. They already raised their kids. Why are they raising more kids? But that's just your typical Hispanic culture.
Mhm.
But you know I don't even know where to begin, man. I mean, yeah, it just essentially.
Where do you feel like addiction started for? How about
You know, you're raised in it. You know, you're everybody's drinking around you, everybody's partying. It's not necessarily it started when or it didn't. It just you're socialized into it automatically in your homes by your parents, by your aunts, your uncles. Like everybody's partying, your cousins,
that? It seems natural.
It's
It's
all they
normal.
do,
It's part of
right?
life.
and then you know you get at a young age. I mean, honestly, you're drinking at 10, 12, 11, 13 years old, and then you get hanging out with the wrong people at the wrong time, and you get introduced to different things, right? And it just becomes you don't know it's an addiction because it's so
Everybody's doing it. Everybody around here.
yeah. So how did I know it was going to be an addiction until it was an addiction? Until I had to deal with it, until I had to figure it out. That's what the hardest part is like.
So when did it go from being like? Because I mean, that's kind of like almost like, hey, you know what? It started out just like a good time. It was just,
Man, I mean, I would say when I was introduced, like I'm alcoholic, drug addict, right? I'm a junkie from the streets. Like, I mean, I'm filthy. Like, I was banging dope in bathrooms and all over the streets of LA, like straight.
and we got to see a different person too. Like we're picturing you right now as this big guy,
Yeah.
this buff dude.
Healthy.
But yeah, healthy. But that's not who it was.
It wasn't
back then.
actually. Back then it was just like hanging out with, the older OGs from the hood, and then people were doing this, and and you're like, well, what's that? Like, what do you got going on there? Well, here, I'm gonna blow a hit in your face, right? That's from starting with weed to essentially, I mean, meth. I mean, I was getting wet, dude. I was smoking freaking Sherm and PCP. Like, there was just no bars. Like, the sky's the limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, you get introduced to it with the people we hang out with, right? And then, you get told, don't hang out with those people, they're bad. But at the same time, you got like alcoholism in your house. So what's worse, hanging out with those people or hanging out at home? Like, where do you decide the fine line of like who to hang out with, right? And you're just throwing, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of my choices in life and my struggles are because of my choice, right? There's a percentage of my ownership that I own from the path that I kept choosing, and there's a percentage of just like being surrounded or just growing up in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's no excuse, right? You just have to figure it out. Like, you really got to do some searching. I mean, you're gonna party and trip out. Everybody's gonna experiment. But what does it do? Like, if I always, to this day now, if you have any type of addiction problems or alcoholism or anything running in your family, then absolutely watch what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it runs in your blood.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
figured that out. Yeah.
Right? I mean, myself, I mean, there's no miracle recipe, LA was just like, it was just a stepping stone, and it became a rock bottom stone as well, right? It became my rock bottom. I ventured from LA to Idaho, at a young age, just I need to get out of here. I was hustling up in Idaho, doing things up there that just were, they're just foul and just incorrect.
Taking advantage of Idaho because of what you learned from California.
Exactly.
Play young.
You already know.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you already know that the hustle's gonna expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's what I did up there. And then you still deep into it. You're just deep into it in a whole different way now.
Now you're rotting.
You're stuck. Like you're in too deep, right? Like that's basically you're just in too deep, and there's only one way out. And basically, my way out was like catching a case, and then if that wasn't even game over, then it was just I got clean and straight for a little while. Transferred back from Idaho to Compton on my parole, and then just back to the drinking, and then the partying, and then relapsed on meth, right? And it's a hard course, and it just essentially it's just a snowball effect because. Like I said, LA was my stepping stone, and LA was it's my rock bottom. And I hit my rock bottom in LA. It was just life or death. Like you don't know what to do when you're at that point anymore, and it's just like you have to choose, right? You really generally have to choose. And I had already lost everything multiple times in my life. I've already lost relationships, with a first son of mine, like things like that, just because of my addiction. When I hit that rock bottom, the crazy thing is I had to make a choice, and I had to get out of Dodge per se, right? Geographical change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot in sobriety, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big important change.
It is.
You had to get yourself out of that environment.
Well, and that's the funny thing is I thought that was the case. So I got a hold of my blood brother up in Oregon, and then I went up there for a little bit, and I was just wilding out up there. Nothing was clicking. It just didn't work. I was still making those same mistakes. I was still
behavior patterns, right?
Yeah, it just followed me a different state. I started I became I was clean off of meth when I got to Oregon, but I just became a raging blackout alcoholic. I traded one addiction for the other. And then that's where all the weight gain happened, right? Like you quit meth, I was looking like Slim over here, I'm just saying, no offense. Hey, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, I get up there and then I start drinking heavily. I was up there for 2 years, just trying to figure out my life. And, I'm 385 pounds fat. I mean, you saw the pictures in the article.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's your thoughts?
Out of shape. That's probably depressed.
Big shape. Yeah, I mean,
depressed.
Yeah, I mean, just
someone who has no cares in life.
Absolutely, and that's how I lived my life. But I mean, honestly, my recovery didn't really start. It was kind of until I had a brother from another mother, a sobriety brother of mine. His name's Pat, and he's the one. We were running a gun in Idaho together, and everything you could think of, we did while we were just wilding out, getting high. We were both junkies. We were, just living our life. And the crazy thing was when I got out of prison, I knew he's the one that took me in, and then he let me transfer back. He took me in, and he was pregnant with his daughter's Alexis, and so the crazy thing was I was like, I need to reach out to this guy. Something was telling me I need to call him. I called him. I got the voicemail. This is this young girl. Hi, you reached Swanson's, blah, 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 Stevie, blah, blah, Joe, Bob, and I'm just like, this is him. Like, I need to get a hold of him. So I leave a message. No answer. I call back again. His stepdad answers, said, nope, we don't want to talk to you. We're not going to pass on your number. Then the mom in the background chimes in, hey, that's Blue. Let me talk to him. I'll give the number over to him. A couple weeks go by, no nothing. He sends me the big book. Like no communication. Big this book, big blue book, right? Like they call it the big book. Like it's what am I supposed to do with this? He's like, well, read it. I'm like, what do you mean read it? Like he's like, just read it. So I'm reading it, drinking a beer, doing what I do, calling him, and we're going over it, and I'm drinking a beer. I'm like, dude, this is not working. So it became to a point where like he's like, if it's God's will, there will be an opportunity for you to move out here, and you're gonna have to have a program. You're gonna have to work for this. And it essentially it turned into a 2-page email of all these rules, absolute rules of what I had to do, what I was going to be held to. I mean, like a contract. He's like, this is what you need to do. I said, well, cool, because I already sent my stuff to you one way, and I got a ticket in 2 weeks.
And I'm coming.
And he was just like that. I said, yeah, just like that. When I got here, it was meeting after meeting after meeting. It was working out. It was, doing outdoors activities. It was living a clean life of just, it was like a halfway home, but it wasn't halfway home because I was renting the room where 2 cats used to shit and piss on my bed for 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, like, let me tell you, and I was like, I'm going to throw him off the fucking balcony. My brother, yeah, it's horrible, right? My brother's like, if you do that, you'll be out of a place to live. He's like, so every choice you make has a consequence. And I was like, so I bought him a new cat litter box. I bought him some fucking toys, and they were the coolest fucking Himalayan.
And now you're a cat guy.
I'm a cat guy. Yeah. My wife's in the corner saying, "Yep, absolutely."
That's awesome.
But that's just where it started, right? It was like, let me tell you, dude, the 1990s, right? Like, you
Yeah.
go 1990s,
Mhm.
like, try it one day and tell me how you feel. It's fucking like banging your head against the wall. It's tough.
That is
90 meetings in 90 days. That means a meeting every day. I
Mm-mm.
mean, then it was like 2 days last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Morning meeting.
I think I didn't use meetings for my recovery, but I did go to some. And I think I lasted like 3 or 4 weeks of meetings. And that's not all every day at all, like maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And I meetings weren't for me.
Yeah, meetings are not for everybody.
Meetings weren't
They're
for
really
me.
not.
I appreciated them. They just weren't for me.
Mhm.
So 90, that's like when somebody tells me they're going to do, what is that, 75 hard, and they're exercising. Y'all, no.
Man, yeah.
One day at a time, people.
Yeah. Not 90 and 90, right?
One day at a time. You're counting too far ahead.
But that was the contract. That was the rules, right? That was like
But you went in there determined like this with this.
yeah.
When you called him, when you tried to reach for him, you had already said, "I'm going to do this.
I'm done. Like, I'm done.
I'm done." What was that made you say, "I'm calling because I'm done"? What was that?
Man.
What was the give up? What was the, man, this is the person I got to call? And then you're obviously, I can tell by the 350 pounds of muscle that you are now, that when you decide to do something, that when you decide to do something, you do something. You stick with it.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's like, that was a Hail Mary. I threw a Hail Mary, and that's, what my
You'd had enough.
He was my Hail Mary. But the essentially is like, I didn't know what it was like to live life, man. Like, I mean, essentially, like, I was dying every day. Like, when you're an addict or an alcoholic.
And you knew that at this point. You felt it.
I fucking knew when I was shoving needles in my
It took me a long time to realize that I was drowning in my alcoholism. That I was just killing myself and ruining my life. It wasn't until several people pointed it out, several tear sessions of my own, several lonely moments, that I had that. But you knew it.
Man, my family was just, they were, I'm not gonna lie, and this is where I told you have no empathy or sympathy, because I was raised by wolves. They were like, go do your thing and go die. Like,
if you're going to keep doing this up, then
see you later.
You don't care, we don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, and like I said, when it came out, when it was just, that was they call it the aha moment, the burning bush. Like, God, like, they didn't come see me and talk to me or tell me the path. It was, I didn't know what it was like to live, but I sure knew the hell what it was like to die every day. So I wanted to try something different.
Ugh, yeah, that's so powerful. You know what it feels like to die every day.
Every day.
Yes.
And it sucked. I mean, I honestly, man, I was miserable. What did my wife say over when she met me? I was a cold-hearted asshole,
Yes.
or just
Yep.
like, right? Yeah, exact verbatim, and that's the truth, because I was so miserable in my sobriety still, right? Like, you're dry drunk. Just because you don't drink or get high, you're still fucking dying. Like, and I didn't know anything beyond that. I was just doing the do, and just that was my path. And I knew it was a non-negotiable to drink. I knew it was a non-negotiable to get high and stick needles in my arm. Like, I knew those were non-negotiables, but I didn't know how to create a life or live a life outside of just doing that hard course recovery, right? That's where I throw the book out. 10 years in, I throw this book out. I'm tired of the meetings like, hey, Bob, it's got 34 years. Hi, my name's Bob. I've been doing the same thing for 34 years. I'm miserable and I drink coffee in AA meetings because I don't know what to do with myself. That may work for you, Bob, but it's not working for me, because I want to live life. I want to be happy. I want to be adventurous. I want to be exciting. I want to do things. I want to go color pots and pottery, and I want to, sip and paint like Bob.
And raise cats.
Yeah. Get a cat from the cat shelter. When I say no, hey, it still shows up. I'm just saying, it's the best cat ever.
I love this.
I mean, don't get me wrong. But like I said, man, I'm not textbook. I make my mistakes. I mean, we're not perfect, right? Like, I just know what my non-negotiable is, and that's alcohol and meth. And it doesn't mean that I've not tried weed or I've not tried this, in my sobriety and recovery. But I'm not saying, like, don't try this at home, folks, because like what works for me works for me.
Amen.
We are two different people.
That's
Our
right.
chemical imbalance. Like, I know my triggers are non-negotiables. Your triggers are non-negotiables, right? So your limits, right? And absolutely with you, right? We all know it, but it just becomes. It becomes your way of life, right? Now it's my lifestyle. And that was my biggest thing, was like, yeah, I don't drink. And it made me feel good. Like, yeah, I haven't drank for 18 years. Yeah, I haven't shot dope for 18 years. Like, yeah, it's a milestone, but it was more than that. I wanted to start living life. I wanted to start being successful with my life. And I wanted to, like, reinvent myself entirely, is where I became at with it.
So you were like, I'm going to lose 200 pounds. That's a part of it. I mean,
Here.
yeah. I mean,
Man. It's funny, my wife, so she appreciates your humor. Dude, I needed another addiction.
we're addicts.
I mean, I eat fucking hard candy like no other, because I'm a tweaker. Like,
I eat more candy than I ever used to.
Absolutely.
Right? Love candy.
Yeah.
I'm back on my comic book addiction.
Yeah.
I go to the thrift store every day. I have a thrift store addiction. So when my mom passed away, back in the day when I was a little kid, she used to buy me those glasses from McDonald's. They had like Ronald McDonald and Star Wars and all kinds of
Grimace and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
all of that.
Yeah.
So I collect those because they remind me of my mom. You find them at Goodwill. You only find them, but if you go every day. So I have this replaced one of my addictions with every day. And it started when I first got sober, because every day when I get off of work, I always had to go to the liquor store. So instead of going to the liquor store, I had this urge, shaking urge, like I got to do something. I would go to the thrift store. Yeah. And I'd be in there, walk around for about 10 minutes, and it seemed to just take away that urge that I had to go to the liquor store. Yeah. And then I'd go home, clean my house.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah.
Hey,
but I mean,
look at this. I got cats. He's got McDonald glasses.
Like, I do. I have like a couple hundred of them.
We're gonna go to his, but they're just all around his whole house.
I have an entire glass case, and
like a China hush full of.
Yes, I do.
Oh man. Woo, I got my
so you replace addictions with other addictions, and one of them was for you working out.
The funny thing you say about the cleaning, when I first met my wife when we were dating, that's all I did was clean. Like, she's like, you never get to sit still. You make me feel like I gotta get up and do something. I'm like, no, you just sit there.
Yeah,
Like,
relax.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm tweaking out. Like, our house was spick and span all the time. And let me tell you, she's like, I just can't. She's like, you need to learn how to sit down. I'm just like,
throwing stuff out,
Yeah.
throwing dirt
oh
around.
my, yeah, this has got to go. This has got to go. And then I'd sit on the couch and was like, she's like, oh my God, go do something, go clean. I'm like, okay, cool. But now,
She's coming to the living room, dropping Cheerios on the
yeah,
floor for you.
just to help me out. Eating Cheetos. And I'm like,
Vacuum.
But that's the thing. It's like there's so many ticks and just it's ridiculous that I still have, right? That your brain and your body just adapt because you had them when you're always tweaking. And it doesn't go away, and I laugh at it because
Just don't tell me you have like blinds at the window there.
what do you stand at the window at your AK all day?
Those bent blinds just still happens. You keep buying window blinds every 6 months because I can't help it.
No, absolutely not. I was never that person, right? They were not following me. They were not watching me. Okay, no. I do well without sleep. I work a high stressful job and I still don't sleep, but I function well without it,
Right.
naturally. So
Right.
no, my blinds are fine.
Okay. So, what's your daily? You exercise every day still? So this is an addiction still, right? But these are positive addictions. I don't like some addictions we have are not bad things. They're not always bad.
Well,
But you do have to be aware that we're addicts.
I think in moderation,
Yeah.
we can do anything over the top, but it's all about finding moderation and balance.
yeah, absolutely, right? Like when the biggest thing I'm learning is rest, right? Like knowing when you take a break and when to sit down, it's okay, or not having to do something all the time, or not having to go to the gym all the time, right? It's a correlation because I was MMA fighting. I used to, do a lot of mountain trail running, a lot of single track mountain biking. Like I've been doing a lot of active things, through my recovery, right? Because I just I need the adrenaline. Like I need things to, speed me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to go fast, and
You want to live life.
yeah.
You can say it.
But that's the thing is like you read the story, that article, right?
Mhm.
Like that was something we were encouraged to write because they believe my story is impactful.
Oh, so to
Yeah.
tell everybody about the article.
You why don't you read it? So you tell them what you're thinking.
Well, your wife wrote an article to a
Rep Fitness.
and she won you. Well, you won with your story. The article, her recommendation won you a full gym, a $10,000 gym.
Absolutely.
In your home, and it was all really about this. It was about your recovery, your resiliency, your work that brought you to this point.
It was. I guess they. My friend says, she says I'm the bionic man. I'm this immortal, and God's got a bigger plan for me. Like people out there, if you're stuck in recovery, right? You're stuck in addiction. Like you need to find something greater than yourself and what you're doing. Like you have to find that higher power. I don't care what you call it. I don't care what it is. If it's a coffee mug, like they say, and this is what's keeping you sober, then let's make that your higher power. Like do what you got to do, but you need to get out of yourself, right? You have to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let go and let God happen, right? That's the sayings from the big book, right? And there's a lot of that. I guess, we'll tap into that in a minute. But the thing was that story is not that everybody's got a story. I'm just nonchalant. Like this podcast, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do it. Like I'm dreading it, right? Like I don't know what to do. I'm not orthodox. I'm not typical textbook.
That's fine. That's
All right.
That's
Yeah,
good here.
Yeah.
So they said my story is most impactful due to the fact of the hurdles I've overcome in my life. Not the hurdle, but the fact that it was multiple hurdles, and
going back to from when you were a little kid.
Just your environment.
like where I was raised and growing up in, my drug and alcohol addiction, then just running and gunning. I mean, and then you get 385, 400 pounds fat. Like that's a huge thing. I mean, like not just literally.
You put a lot of obstacles up to your life at that point.
Right. And so it was, and yeah, I don't know, like telling my story like this is a little bit easier, right? But if you were to read the article to me, it hits me differently because now I'm hearing it. And my wife wrote this thing and she's reading it to me on the couch and I'm trembling. Like I am shaking and I am crying because I don't see it myself the way others see me, right?
You never
I don't
see yourself out of somebody else's eyes.
know until they write that. And then you read it and then you're just like, this is like, you don't even know how to digest it, right? Am I worthy of this? But the journey, like it just because you have speed bumps, you're hitting speed bumps, or you got hiccups in your life, man, it doesn't mean that it's over, right? Like you just got to keep getting up and you got to keep moving forward. Like you don't want to stop. Like if you stop, what happens if you stop? Your idle hands or the devil's playground. Like you got to keep moving. You got to keep finding your next step, your next, how to set the bar higher, your next goal, your next tangible goal, your next anything. How to be a better person, how to be a better lover, how to be a better husband. She might roll her eyes again, but we'll see. But but that's what it is, man. Like that old school textbook, like the NAs, the AAs, like there's some cool and good sobriety there, but man, that's just like a small community, right? But it's a bubble, and we're in a. If you stay in that bubble and then you step outside of that bubble, you're gonna get scared because you're just used to your sobriety people. What happens when you step out of there, man?
In sobriety institutionalized.
Absolutely, and I believe that's hard. It's truth because they do all these sober things. They do all the hang around these sober people, and then when they hang out with a normal, next thing you know, they're shooting shots because they don't realize that their life choice is their life choice. And that this person's life choices, they're normals and they can drink and get high and do whatever. You got to get a step outside of that box, man. You got to be a forward thinker. What are we going to do next? How are we going to do it? So like the fitness for me, that's what it was: dieting, fitness, being motivating. The crazy thing is 2020, I mean, with all these hurdles, I've had injury after injury after injury, and my wife has taken care of me for the past ever since we met. She has nursed me through an injury, right? I'm not saying she beats me. I'm not,
yeah.
But maybe
she's your crutches.
Yeah, yes. She's nursed me through injury after injury, from shoulder dislocations, from.
Dude, what's the point of working out so much if all it does is get you hurt?
Well, I go.
Like I haven't had any of these injuries.
None of these.
Yeah. I'm not buff, but I'm not hurt.
I must go a little harder than you. I'm just saying.
Just a little, obviously.
Look at these fingers, but
dude,
these things don't go straight, people. This is my strong hand, okay?
That was security guard.
No, this is flag football. After being released from a broken ankle that my wife took me snowboarding on and broke my ankle teaching me.
Don't blame her.
Oh no, it was her.
We're not letting her take that nothing.
But it's like you said, so there's so many hurdles, right? Like let's just say an arm like us, right? We down and out. What happens when we're injured and we can't do anything? Mind gets tricky, right? It's dangerous. My wife's like, her verbatim words, like, you're a fucking lunatic when you're injured. You're just a cold-hearted individual. That's because I don't know how to act or react. I don't know. I'm used to being self-reliant. And that's the thing, is like there's so many hurdles. Like these injuries, people, man, the pain meds or whatever, like it is what it is. Like I stayed on top of that shit because that fucking pain hurts. Like surgeries
and as an addict, it's really easy to get on some pain meds.
It is.
And just lose control.
Yeah.
But that's the thing though, but as an addict, it's your choice to decide, do I keep doing these after I don't have no more pain. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say no, right? Like, why give in to the,
I agree with you. I also know, I agree with you because I know where we are.
Right.
I know how we feel because we've been through this.
Man, but
You know?
they make that choice of the feast or famine or the prosper or hustle, right? Like it's because we're where we're at. I mean, that's anybody. Like you know, when I remember when I was a junkie, like I made a choice to go get fucking dope. Like I could have made a choice to go do something right. You know, and no rehab, no nothing, man. I mean, shit, quitting cold turkey felt like a fucking street roller was rolling over my body for 24 hours. That was the hardest thing. I mean, cold turkey. I mean,
you were determined.
Like
you just said,
like
this is my choice.
13 to 26. A good friend of mine said, "I'm a single percentile success rate from coming back from that much meth use."
That's the truth. I mean, very right. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't get to happen for a lot of people. And what you're talking about, you made that decision, and that was it. It was your decision, and it was final. But going through the different pathways, I mean, being able to be in touch with the fellowship, and I think what's really cool about what you're talking about, Luke, is that you found a community that works for you, and
Absolutely.
and it wasn't through not trying different things. It was figuring out what works best for you.
One of my sponsor used to tell me, and he would always say, "You don't come to meetings, but you always use the tools in life."
Mm-hmm.
The tools that I place at your feet, you use them in life. You know when to reach out. You know to give back. You know to put other people first. And you know to just keep trying to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So those people, you know, I think my last chip I collected in a meeting was like, I think 10 or 12 years. Because it was still the same old story of Bob drinking coffee, not knowing how to live life besides his AA meetings, right? But that's what works for Bob. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. I just wanted a little more out of life besides AA coffee because absolutely this shit's disgusting.
So strong.
Yeah, like you talk about getting on one, like you just go to a couple AA meetings, you're zipping and zooming for freaking hours.
That and you walk through that haze of nicotine. As
Oh my God, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's smoking cigarettes, smoking vape, chewing, like they're fucking hopped up on energy drinks, right? This is all we know how to do in addiction. Yes, absolutely.
I'm still there.
Yeah, me as well. Don't get me wrong, my kidneys hate me for it, but still.
Still there.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, dude, my thing was like, I always wanted to be more than what I was, right? Like I wanted more out of life. I wanted to be more, I just wanted to do things differently. I wanted to be more successful. I didn't want a job to be a job. I wanted a career. I wanted, you know, there's things I wanted in life that I never had because joy, happiness, you know, just doing normal stuff, man. I mean,
you know, I was saying this on my radio show earlier this week that grown men don't spend enough time saying the word joy, looking for joy, being like, I need some joy in my life. Because we spend so much time being tough. You know how many of us got this? You got it too. We got this wrinkle down the middle between our eyebrows because of all the time we don't spend staring at each other like, what's up, bro? You know? And instead of having a search for some joy.
Why is that?
Looking for that happiness.
What is that about?
I don't know.
That's a masculine thing. And
I'm too tiny to be so tough, okay? Like it made sense for him. He was security. He was at the door. Like, you think you're coming in here?
How much money you got? How many girls are with you? That's all I'm saying. If there's 5 dudes, I can't do it.
And you ain't coming in.
You gotta go to another club.
Different spot.
This ain't the spot for
but now that's one of the things you were looking for, you know.
Well, I mean, it was an escape, right? It's a persona, right?
Like, but now, I mean, is joy, love, happiness.
Dude, now, like, I'm
pursuing, you know, life's happiness.
Now I'm getting pedicures with my wife every 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm getting gel coat. I'm getting dyes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's nothing masculine about me. I mean, it just the shell's just a freaking hard shell, right? Other than that, I'm putty in the hands. Like I got, you know, I have a loving family around me. I got a loving niece who I just melt for every day. Like guys, like joy, right? You want to talk about joy? there's no other joy than just having a 7-month-old baby just sit on your lap. She sits on my lap like I'm the throne, and she sits there and just judges everybody around her.
So sweet.
And it's the best thing ever.
Bro, let me tell you, man, we got a lot in common here besides the difference in size. Both of us have a recovery day of September 11th, right? But I was just seeing my nephews this past weekend. One of my nephews is 2 years old. The other is 2 months old. The 2-month-old was the first time I got to hold him. My brother was like, you got to feed him. You got to take the bottle and feed him. So I got the bottle of breast milk and I'm feeding him. And I'm like, man, he's really sweaty. And he farts.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he just pooped. And my brother was like, nah, that's a fart. You're all right. I'm like, all right. I'm still feeding him. I was like, it's almost done. He was like, oh, good. You're doing well. I was like, he's really sweaty though. And he was like, oh, that gets it. Babies get hot. And I'm like, all right. And then I hand him the baby and he puts the baby on his shoulder. And the back of the baby is just covered in brown poop.
Yeah.
All up
Yeah.
and down. Just
That is love.
and I look down at my arm, and my arm is just, it's not sweaty. Okay. That's what we thought it was sweaty. But let me tell you, I never felt so much joy to get pooped on. I was like, he loves me. He was like, I'm with my uncle. Here's my poop, uncle. I love you.
Yeah.
And I was all about it. I was like, man, this is so great. My first time holding my nephew, and he pooped all over me. I was so happy, man. It was poop joy, bro.
Dude, it's like we didn't have room for any of that, right? When we were being addicts and drinking, right? There was no room for none of that. Like maybe you thought there was, but we were so oblivious to what was going around. We just were looking for that next high.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next excitement of chasing the dragon's tail per se. The next drink. But
And with no care for anybody else, just what's in it for
So
you.
selfish.
man, it's the most selfish thing you could do is because you're so wrapped up in like your life stops, right? It puts a timer on what you got to do, what you're capable of handling as like socially with family and friends, because you need to step out and go get fucked up. Like you need to go stick a needle in your arm, smoke a bowl, take some shots. You're not able to socialize, like socially be present or active. As far as my thing is this, man, like I didn't look back. I didn't fight the meetings. I didn't fight making amends. And a lot of my amends are living amends. So now I'm fucking on the hook to keep doing the next right thing. Like, fuck, dude, I wanted to pay a check. I wanted to like shake hands. Let me give you the
Forgive
car
me,
back
we're good.
I stole. You know what I mean? But living amends means you need to keep doing the right thing
For life.
for life. Absolutely. Keep being a better person. Keep being successful. Keep doing things to better your life. And so that it turned into just a giant amends, right? Like everything I do is, I feel like I pay penance. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I pay daily penance for the things I've done in my past, right? And I still to this day struggle. Am I worthy of this life? Am I worthy of the wife that I have and the family that's around me that I love? Am I worthy of this career? Like these things.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Absolutely. But that's the thing that
Well, let other people tell you, don't be so hard on
Well, I
yourself.
appreciate that. Thanks, my God.
Oh, man.
I appreciate you because that's how I live my life, right? And always want to do better. Always want to be better. Always want to, everything. It's just that addiction, and then just just knowing where I came from, and the things I'm capable of and have done. But that's like what I tell you earlier, like no glory day living, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're out there, guys, like dude, who cares what you did in high school? What are you doing today?
Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow?
What's the plan for the
Who
future?
cares about fucking college, bro? Like, what did you do with your degree? No pun intended, love, but she's super successful with what she does. But I mean, it's like the glory day living, right?
She's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give her a shout out at the end of this, we give her some free advertisement. Yeah. But but that's the thing, is like addiction and AA and recovery, your typical textbook is like they want you to relive that shit, right? Like what happens if we didn't need to relive it, and we just did the steps and we just kept moving forward. I think we would have a higher success rate with a lot of, recovery, and people would be more successful because everybody's so wrapped up. And back in the day, so getting so high and so fucked up, like who cares? It's just you're just implanting that back into your head, like back in you're. It's like taking a step back, because you're thinking about, oh yeah, back in the day this, and you start reminiscing with a bunch of people in AA or NA, right? Oh wait, let's get so fucked up. Like who cares? What'd you do today? Did you tell anybody hi? Did you wave at somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Did you let somebody go first in the freaking, and when they're trying to not know how to fucking merge in the fucking.
Did you have some patience with somebody?
Right. There was this instance in it. I have no patience. Just gonna.
I gotta yell at myself all the time. So do I. I'm constantly in the car going, man, you didn't have to be so mad at that person just because.
I'm in the grocery store. My wife's with me. We're checking out. And I look at the bag and I'm like, you have one job to do. My wife said, absolutely not. Apologize and go wait outside.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Let me say, I apologized and I went outside, right? Because it's not his fault I'm an asshole or I just have no patience, right? It's instead of being a solution, I was a problem.
Mhm.
And so the more
So you ain't forgot it.
No,
No.
there's a lot of things that I don't forget because I don't want to relapse or renege back into that behavior.
That's a good thing.
I mean, I do, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a sharp tongue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just being human, they say. But that's everybody. We got something to work on, right? Like, shit, we'd be all angels if we
I ain't effing perfect either.
No.
Oh, I'm just better at editing because I'm on the radio all the time.
Right.
All right. But please believe I curse.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's like, oh, I got to edit all your swear words. My bad. Let me check. So with that mindset of like, what are we doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? It's kind of like my wife says, what are your 2-year, 5-year, 7-year goals, plan, when we first met, we're interviewing each other. Yeah.
Interview.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. What's your credit score? What's your baggage? Do you drink? Oh, that's it. You don't drink? Okay, cool. Non-negotiable if you do drink, right? We're done.
Yep.
So there's another living amendment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like we have to. There's nothing wrong with setting accomplishments each day, right? And I reference my wife a lot because, the reason being is she's my homie. That's my
your rock. That's your best friend.
That's my pillar.
Yeah.
Like
the tag team partner.
Absolutely. I mean, more ways than one. Well,
you ain't gonna get the pin, little guy.
She keeps me aligned, right? And the life, I was probably 11 years sober, just in a miserable fashion ever, right? The most miserable sober person you could ever be, working 3 different jobs just to not be home, just not happy, with the relationship, the marriage I was in, stepping out, all kinds of mistakes, right? But when I met her, my little brother had mentioned, and the thing about this is and this goes to the part of what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? Right? He said, that's the girl you want to be with. You want to be her best friend. You want to be her friend first.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was like until I was like, okay, I can do this. And I'm like, oh, no, we're just chilling. Why are you getting all touchy? Let's hang out and we're being friends, right? And then it became.
I used to be fat.
Yeah, I had crooked teeth. I smell like gravy when I sweated. Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, shit. Absolutely. But no, that's the thing, was right. It was being best friends with her just opened my perspective, always doing something better, right? Now the bar is set even higher, absolutely higher. Let me tell you, we set the bar high for ourselves, right? But when you
would that be that you have to impress her, or you have to live up to a standard?
We always got to be better in ourselves, right?
Okay.
Why do you want to be in a relationship when one's getting better and the other one's not?
Mm-hmm.
You got to challenge each other to be better. And that's where that,
or even just being stagnant. Why, you don't want to be stagnant either.
no, that was the thing. Absolutely not. Like shit, dude, there's no just like turmoil of like, oh, I'm just stuck in this bad career. Well, fucking figure something out and get into a new career, do something better, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way this woman operates, and this is it's a blessing to me because now that's how I function at a high level in a very stressful industry because of this. This woman's taught me to be look at things differently, and with that, if you're not constantly looking what you did today, so you look at tomorrow to be better. Like today I was good, tomorrow I want to be better, right? That's the small stuff. That's the stuff that's going to help you with your addiction. It's going to help you with sobriety. We're going to get you out of your head. When you're sitting at home, for all the new people who are, trying this sober thing or just clean thing or whatnot, you got to know your triggers. I would say 80% of people don't know their triggers.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's even probably more than that. I don't know. They don't know their triggers. They don't know what their non-negotiable is, right? And I figured that out, what my non-negotiable is, and I just stuck with it, and I kept running with it. And that's all I did. I didn't look back. I don't look back. There's no reason to look back.
Well, that's one thing about you that I'm catching, is that when you decide to do something,
Do it.
you're not 50%, 80%, 75%, 99%. It's 110 or above.
Shit, when I was getting high, it was 110.
Yeah,
right?
but that's what it is for everything.
Yeah, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either all in or all out.
Food, drugs, but also sobriety, love,
Yeah.
work.
And yeah, I mean, why? There's no medium, right? Like, who wants a medium size, right? You're either large size or no size, right? Like,
You don't half-ass things.
No, why would you, right? You don't want to do that with your diet.
But some people do. Some people are like, some people go from hardcore addiction to just a stagnant life of.
And then that's Bob drinking coffee at the AA
exactly.
meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That stagnant life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just okay with it. I'm just okay with my 34 years. I ain't got nothing to say. Go fucking travel. Like, I saw a lot of that.
You're like, what else can I put on top of it? What else can I do? What else?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not, right? Like, I mean, what do they say? Like, the salt and pepper diet will get you nowhere, right? And man can't survive on salt and pepper. Well, you know what? I'm learning this, with my digestive problems and stuff. And that's the reason why I got fit. Is like salt and pepper is probably the best season you can ever have nowadays, right? You just got to get the better meat. So,
all right.
So that's the thing is like, so like, like I said, it's my sobriety is not perfect. My recovery is not perfect, but recovery is based around, living life and being and living a successful life, right? And that is with how hard I work out. That is with new recipes I can cook at home, new treats I can bake, whatever it is, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is. It's just what is it new you can do that's going to get you out of your mind of just like thinking I need to get higher, I need to have a drink, right? There's multiple things. Like take up baking.
Mm-hmm. You're somebody who's totally left the old person behind.
Dude,
you are
reinvention at its fullest.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like you would
if you showed me the 10-year-old, the 15-year-old, the 20-year-old, who you are now, I don't know how old.
Man.
But all these
45.
45. Come on, man. God bless. But all these different stages, I don't think the 25-year-old is anything like the 45-year-old.
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you, dude, like even as a child, like I, group homes, being beat, like that's life, being fucking molested by pastors, like, overdosing, being beat up and left in concrete pits because you're robbing the wrong people, but that didn't deter me from wanting to be a better person. Like literally, I know I say it and I struggle with it.
And you didn't give up.
Why? I mean, I didn't give up when I was fucking up, so why would I give up when I'm trying to do something, do the right thing? Like, trust me,
that's what I thought is it's such a big deal is you didn't give up when you were in your addiction. You didn't just say, all right, I'm done.
Hey, who wants, man.
You said, I want to live.
I wanted to know what
I want cats.
Cat.
Okay.
Cat. Okay, one cat. Mika.
You're only 45, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
more cats can happen.
No, baby nights. We need to pray for it. Give me a little
Okay,
baby
all right,
juju.
all right.
We need to pop a bean in that oven. Just
Okay.
saying.
All right.
You know.
And what is happening tonight, everybody?
Baby making.
Baby making. Yeah, we'll play some of that R&B. But no, I mean, look, my thing is this, brother. My biggest, like, the caveat to all this, right, is in my success, right? It's just because I didn't stop and I wanted something more. I found something I wanted and I kept going for it. You know, and the closer that I want to leave you with is my life change. Like, you read that story, right? You guys read it. Like, I'm not Orthodox. I'm not here for anything.
This was better to hear it than to read it.
Was it?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, in October 21, was it 23? October 21st, 23. We were a week before out for a good night, celebrating before our wedding. And I want to close on this. So you know that no matter what, you got to keep going. My wife had been drinking, obviously, like she drinks. I don't. It's her life. It doesn't bother me because I'm at that place in my life.
I totally understand that.
And it works for
me.
me.
I'm the same way.
Hey, let me tell you, like, tequila works well for me.
Alcohol's not jumping out of the cup into my system.
No, absolutely not.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's not jumping there, and I have no desire.
You're not going to get drunk by having an question with someone who's drunk. This thing.
Yeah.
But she drove her. I was sick. My sugar levels crashed. I got to, constantly snack or eat just because of just as I get older and all the abuse, the meth use, it just messed me up. And so I started vomiting. One of our girlfriends drives me home, and she's following us in the truck. And I'm I-25 north, 136 exit, just past this. I pull over and I throw up. As soon as I step out of that car, I'm like throwing up. I'm like, man, these headlights are bright. I reached back to open the back door because the headlights were bright, right? It was a drunk driver slamming into us, going 90. I was outside the car, halfway in, halfway out. The car literally, the impact force transfer, our car, the car I was in, went from 0 to 90, hitting me, throwing me through field, and shot it 50 more feet in the shoulder and 100 more feet forward. And let me tell you, that was the biggest eye-opener experience that I've ever had. That was my aha moment, because the North Suburban said any normal-sized person would be dead, cut in half, and I'm not. And it was the most devastating, life-changing aspect that my wife and I are the strongest we could probably ever be, because of, she took care of me. Like, I was mentally gone. Nobody knew I was coming back. She didn't know. I don't remember the wedding. I was a raging fucking asshole, just hit by a car.
Yeah.
I didn't know no better. But that is the thing, man. And this is why a lot of people, it's the hurdles, right? This is why the story was impactful. This is why, I always want to keep going, because life is there. Take advantage of it. Don't waste it. Finding it in a bottle, finding it, and then hit it dope. Like, there's nothing there. Just heartache and sorrow.
And life goes by fast. We got one of them. Let's live it.
That's why that story you read was so impactful. And you can post it on your site. It's fine. It's because of the hurdles I've overcome, and I haven't stopped. I don't look back. I visited that accident for that whole last year was the hardest thing. I was so fucked up just mentally. And, you can't take that back, but what you can do is just keep doing better, right? And I'm a lot better, more of my norm, or probably better than this. My partners, the new Luke. Right, just because of that incident. Don't get me wrong, old Luke's still there, but I see life differently, and I just want to take advantage of it. And that's why I keep going, because looking back does nothing.
You saw how quickly it can go away.
Absolutely. I remember the crash.
Blessing the people.
I remember the crash vividly. I don't remember 3 weeks after, and literally, it was life changing. It was definitely like God has a bigger plan.
Mhm.
It's a miracle you're still here for lots of reasons. But
Absolutely. And that, that's, like I said, you did good today. If you did all right, do good tomorrow. If you did good, do better, right? Like just keep pushing it forward.
Did really good for a guy who's like, I don't even know if I want to come in here. I don't even like you two. Like,
Whatever.
Slim and the Noni. Okay, I'll be here with you guys. Slim, you really are Slim too.
Yeah.
I used to be security for you at some bar back in the day. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna say we protected the money. That was it.
Yeah. Hey, man, for real. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, such
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Our guest is Big Luke, Big Fit, Luke Jacks. He's jacked. And he's been our guest here on Sharing Our Stories. If you just caught here at the end or you filled in here in the middle, go back to the beginning, check it out, share this with other folks, and let people know that yes, we do recover. This is what recovery looks like. It's a little buffer sometimes for some people than it is for others. But, it looks different for different people. We always say, recovery looks different in different ways. Sometimes it leads you to be, the Incredible Hulk. Sometimes it leads you to be the Incredible Slim. Or you just look great like Nani.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? There's three choices, right?
Right. To go anyway.
Let's go for it.
That's right. Shout out to the wife.
Yes.
You said you were going to plug her business.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to know.
No, so she has a successful platform, right? She she does credit enhancement for clients who are trying to work with mortgage brokers, to buy a home. And let me tell you, it's United Credit Advisors. They're on Instagram. You can see her on Facebook. And let me tell you, I refer a lot of my partners and boys like, man, your wife does credit. I'm like, yeah,
your credit sucks.
Yeah,
so let's fix it.
Yeah. They the success rate, right?
Come on.
Everybody's different. It's like recovery.
Mhm.
Everybody's story. Everybody's
Different work to get the points up.
Absolutely, but I promote it all the time because
There's a route for everybody. There's a route.
It's a proven platform, and they help and they teach you. They're giving you knowledge of what to do, what not to do, and they're doing this through the whole process. So, United Credit Advisors, let's check them out.
United Credit Advisors.
Got it on Facebook and Instagram.
That's right.
Yeah.
Check them out, people, so that you can stop being so excited every time you hear no credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy.
Doesn't
It won't matter anymore.
Check it out. If you want to get a home, man, and you don't know what you're doing with yourself. I mean, it's just like going to check a meeting out, right?
Mhm.
You never know what's going to happen. You're going to come ahead. You're going to be where you started, or you're going to be further ahead in life. So figure it out.
See what you find here: credit and a good credit score, a good credit score and recovery.
Yeah,
Credit and credit recovery.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm trying too hard at this point. I give up.
No, hey, it
I
don't matter.
give up.
I appreciate it though.
Luke Jacks is our guest. This is Sharing Our Stories. If you would like to be a guest on this program, please leave a message on our Facebook, facebook.com/SOS Sharing Our Stories. You are right here. Message us now, and we will see you again right here for Sharing Our Stories. Thanks for being here.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So great. Yeah. That was fantastic.